What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the main stand, episode 33. Very special episode today. We've got a guest with us. So, first and foremost, let's introduce him. We've got Kevin Pettit from the Loud Americans Discussing Soccer, aka Lads podcast. Kevin, thanks for joining us, dude.
Yeah, thank you guys for inviting me. I always try and make myself available and come on to hang out with people and talk some footy. And I'm got to hang out with you guys before on the pre-show a little bit and get to know you a little bit. So I'm really excited. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Of
think we're
course,
all
of course.
looking forward to it. Just looking through the Instagram and kind of communicating the past few weeks, we knew it was going to be a good time. I think we're all pretty similar people just from the first 15 minutes. We kind of got to know each other there. If you don't mind just diving right in, you want to give us like the backstory on the Lads podcast, how you got into soccer a little bit?
Yeah, sure, man. And I love shooting the shit. So like anytime I get to like shoot the shit with a bunch of guys and talk some soccer and drink some beers. I brought a beer too. I guess I had to stay on brand with the show and stuff like that. But cheers and whatnot. Thank you guys for having
cheers.
me. Mm.
I have a different
anyway,
thing to cheers to in a bit, but I'll let Kevin go.
well, anyway, thank you again. So yeah, Lads, Loud Americans Discussing Soccer. It was an acronym me and my buddy made in South Philadelphia while we were living there. We were both college buddies, and I won't be amiss without mentioning him. That's my best friend Martin. So we've been doing this show now for about 4 years. We're approaching 300 episodes. We have like a pretty fun Instagram. I've been trying to get back on Twitter. I used to be really good at it, and now I kind of fell off a little bit. But yeah, me and my buddy, we're getting drunk, yelling about soccer, and a couple of our buddies were like, "Hey, like you should get in front of a mic." And since then, we've had some really great guests. We've created this big Discord community, which I invite you guys, please join our Discord. It's a big, loving soccer community where people get to like shoot the shit, give recipes, and talk about soccer and stuff. It's a good time. So it's been
yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah. I'll send you guys the link. I don't mean to
Absolutely.
plug. I just think it's everyone who's joined. Everyone who has joined has really enjoyed it, and got a lot of these people have all met each other across the country and traveled. We even like it's been a really cool, loving community, and all brought to you by like soccer. So yeah, you can listen to us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts and stuff. We try to do weekly, and we mostly talk Premier League and have some drinks, and then just things get out of hand sometimes. Yeah, it's a good time.
Sounds like a very comfortable, familiar place.
Yeah, it sounds like I would be right at home. So outside of like the podcast world and diving a little bit more into the soccer world, before we ask the resident fan question, we'll ask, just in general, who do you support? How did you stumble into supporting them? Just, little general background on your introduction to the sport, because I feel like everybody's is so different, and it's always fun to hear how somebody found this sport and got to the point of today where you wake up at 7 a.m. to yell at your TV or tweet "what a strike, lad" at 7 a.m.
I love American tweets at 7 a.m. That is so good. Like, oh, I can't believe he's fallen over while you're literally laying in bed, like sipping your coffee or just still hungover in bed. I love talking shit at 7 a.m. But anyway, yeah. So my team is Arsenal. I was a bit late getting into soccer. Like, obviously, I played as a kid with the orange slices and the mom vans and stuff, but I kind of fell off of that. And then I didn't really get into it till like high school, college, when I started playing FIFA and whatnot. And that's where I met Martin, my awesome co-host, who's a Manchester United fan. And he was always into like the class of 99. He played soccer his whole life. And obviously Manchester United in the early 2000s, late 90s were everything. And they were only the ones really televised too, he would tell me. But Arsenal, why I chose them is because it was like my grandfather's team. And the reason he picked Arsenal was because on a trip to England back in the 2000s, and I grew up in the Philadelphia area, just for some backstories. I'm a big Philadelphia sports fan, the Eagles and whatnot. So my grandfather asked somebody, he's like, "Oh, should I support? Should it be like Manchester United? I know they're very good." This is back in like early 2000s or whatever. And he's like, "Nah, they're like the Dallas Cowboys. Don't support them. Who should?" So he was like told to support Arsenal. So, and I always like Arsenal. Red's my favorite color. The Gunners, like that's a cool ass name.
It is.
The Cannon. So yeah, that's kind of. And then I played club soccer in college, which I hadn't played in a while. I played rugby actually in high school and college for the most part. And then my senior year, I just wanted to get drunk and play something. So I chose club soccer. And then, yeah, I played a couple in some club teams and like stuff in the Philadelphia area, but I haven't really played that much in Boston. Also because of like, couldn't really get into teams because of COVID and whatnot. And now I've just been using that as an excuse. Like, I'm out of shape. I can't get back out there. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my background with like soccer and stuff.
Have you got to see Arsenal at the Emirates or just in general, kind of in America, on preseason tour or whatever?
No, I did study abroad while I was in college, got to go to the Emirates, do like the tour and stuff like that. But if you're not like in the know, and this might have changed, like tickets were really, especially for a college student, like I was just eating like ramen and whatnot while I was abroad and taking out loans. So to get tickets to go to the Emirates when I went was like 2015, and that's back when Arsene Wenger was still there, and they were still pretty good. I think that was the year Chelsea won the title, that one of Jose Mourinho. Which I saw a crazy stat about that season where he was in the lead from match day 1 till the end of the season. And it's like
crazy.
That was anyway. I think I saw that on some Twitter today. It's like how that team is kind of underrated. But anyway, I did get to go to a Sunderland Fulham FA Cup game. That's back when Sunderland was in the Premier League.
That's a spicy
and that was that
match.
It was, yeah. Sunderland won 3-0. My one buddy who I became close friends with, who now works for the Sunderland media team. He's a reporter. Yeah, his name is James Copley. He's been on the pod. I should get him on the pod again. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
James is a great guy. He's actually in the Sunderland Until I Die documentary.
Awesome.
He's in season 2. James is a great guy. He's like half Welsh, half English. But that game was wild. I was wearing a Sunderland jersey at Craven College. They won 3-0, got to do all the singing and stuff. So I think that was like my big, like I was into soccer and like generally, but like I think after going to a match, singing the songs and seeing, especially I guess Sunderland is such a good fan base to like go and hang out with because they're so diehard. So I haven't seen an Arsenal match. I do want to go over there. I haven't been back to the UK since 2015.
Where'd you study abroad, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I studied at Swansea.
Cool.
RIP. I love the Swans. I wish they were still in the Premier League. I was there during the whole Wilfred Boney had just left. He just went to Man City.
God, what a waste of money that was.
I know. But Wilfred Boney had one of the best chants. Let's go, Wilfred Boney. Score some goals for Swansea. Oh, it was so good. But anywho, yeah, I was there, and I always like Swansea. I always consider like my second team because I just have I actually got to go to a Swansea game, which was really sick, and also got to go to the rival game between Cardiff and Swansea for rugby, and that was super intense.
Wow.
That at the Liberty Stadium, I believe that's what it's called. And then it was just the whole Bob Bradley and just the American ownership, and now I think they're 17th in the championship. Last time I checked, I check on the championship once in a while just to see who's coming up and also to see if Swansea's doing all right, but they're not. They've been just okay. But yeah, I think just being
hearing these stories because like I had a very similar experience. I studied abroad my senior year in Winchester, so I have like a soft spot, I guess, for Southampton in the same kind of way, and I definitely feel the same things you were feeling. It's extremely hard to get tickets when you're over there. If you aren't a season ticket holder, you basically have to pay for hospitality, which is like insane to ask of a college kid. But I hope you get over there. It's definitely something to experience. Watching your favorite club play at the home stadium.
Yeah, especially with this young lot. Like I really want to see Saka live. I really want to see because they seem just so energetic. It'd be such a great time.
No, for sure. On this side of the pond in America, do you get into the MLS at all, or you stay pretty far away from that?
I mean, I would say I'm a Philadelphia Union fan. Yeah. Just for like, I didn't want to like. I'm sorry. I actually went to the Revs game last year against Philadelphia Union, where Aronson's brother scored his first goal, and that was really cool. And I was like, my buddy JD, who came up from the Philadelphia area. And again, like I'm telling you this because I am not an MLS guy. I want to be so bad, but I'm barely holding on to just try and keep all the European soccer under me, let alone MLS. So, Yeah, I would do Philadelphia Union. They also gave us like media passes one time. I got to meet Jimmy Curtin, ask him questions. I got to be in like the locker rooms and stuff like that. I know, humble brag, I'm a dickhead for that, but I'm sorry. I got to be in the locker room and like see Bedoya. Like that was so cool. I was like, oh my god, you're Bedoya, and like got to meet like the whole the whole team and ask questions. So that was really cool. So I'd say Philadelphia Union for sure. But I try and bring people onto our show to talk about that, or like I know we're going to talk about U.S. men's national team. That's why I brought my buddy JD on the last pod to try and help me out, because international football, I try and do my best, but I'm just so hyper focused on Premier League and the top 5 leagues. So
Yeah,
that's
Nothing
super
wrong with
fair.
that.
I think the only reason that we care about the MLS is because, I mean, I personally like to go to Revs games and drink, and it has turned into a legitimate fandom. I love the Revolution so much. Same with Mitchell. Mitch and I have debated season tickets this year, and then Josh living out in Minnesota
Are you
right
catching
now.
the game this weekend, Pat? Are they playing at home?
They're at home against New York, but I need to take. I spent too much money last weekend. I need to take a weekend off.
I impulsively bought tickets like 30 minutes ago for the Sounders game this weekend.
That's pretty sweet though. You'll enjoy that. And then yeah, we got Josh over on the West Coast, who's our resident Minnesota United fan. And he goes out to the Allianz. He brings the vibes over there, and well, we'll have him back home soon enough to bring the vibes at Gillette too.
Right. He's coming back to Maine just in time for the Loons to come to Gillette. I believe they're playing on Juneteenth. That's the theme of the game that night, and it's on Juneteenth.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's cool that like the Revs are a super inclusive environment. Like the Fort is an unbelievable place. It's the only place to sit at Gillette if you want to enjoy the experience, because those are the only people that are chanting, singing the songs, watching the full game, and get livid when the ref doesn't blow the whistle when it should.
And then if you're in front of me, I might spill beer on you.
Exactly.
What do you guys? I just have a quick aside. You don't have to keep this in if you don't want, but what do you guys do to get to Gillette and drink? And then do you like have a DD, or like, because that's always been my problem. Like I live in Boston, so I shouldn't be complaining. I'm only like 45 minutes away, but like I'm always like, if I go to a game, I'm like I only have 1 or 2 beers, and I'm like I can't really get too like shitty, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but like I know they have buses that go for like the Pats games, but is there that for the Revs?
There's nothing like the bus from Maine down.
Usually Mitch and I will just either, like we've talked about, alternating DDs. Mitch has been like on antibiotics for the last game we went to, so I got to go and get shitty, and then I woke up in a hotel room in Massachusetts.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Really good for me. But it's usually one of me or Mitch will just like drive ourselves down, and just like somebody's the responsible one to get everybody home. It's generally been the vibe.
This last game that we went to was kind of different because we actually had a group of people with us.
Yeah, so
we tailgated. Because I was sick, I'm dealing with like a bunch of different medical stuff right now. Like my wisdom teeth coming out just triggered a bunch of things. It's like going to get your car fixed. Like you go to get the oil changed, and then you drive off the lot, your tire pops, your filter
I'm so
goes,
sorry.
like your axle breaks. Like
they plugged you into that car computer, and the machine just started beeping.
It was the worst 5-minute surgery of my life. But no, we tailgated. I cooked like steak tips. We made buffalo chicken dip. We had somebody make a bunch of like whoopie pies and cookies, and they drank. I did the parenting, which usually kind of is how it goes. I parented our buddy Steve and his older brother the last time when we went to the New York game, the New York City playoff game. We just sat in the car. They pounded some nips before we went in. I had a drink in the stadium, and then just drove home because it is a long drive. It's like 3 hours, and then leaving the stadium, you're probably going to have an extra 45 minutes to an hour on top of that. It's in a rural place, so it's tough to get in and out of like quickly, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of like public transport or anything like that. If it was in Boston or closer to Boston, the traffic would be a lot less in terms of cars.
Right. Yeah. And I do like Gillette Place, like all the restaurants and like the
Yeah.
bars, like that's all really cool. They have the TB12 shit. Nice. Like that's awesome. I just for me, like I when I was living in South Philly, I could take like a 15-minute Uber. And maybe I was like, you know, a little spoiled because I was in South Philly near all like the Wells Fargo Center and like Citizen Bank and whatnot.
Shout out the Flyers. I worked for Comcast for 3 years up until
Shout out the
COVID.
Flyers. We're horrible. Sorry, we're just so bad. And Claude Giroux's gone. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, we can talk some soccer. Sorry.
I can call Danny Briere right now if you want me to. I have his phone number.
That's really cool. But
He was my boss.
Weird flex, but okay, Mitch. Last note on
This
that.
is a soccer podcast.
Next time we end up at Gillette, we'll shoot you guys a DM.
Yes.
We're playing something.
yeah, no, I'd love to come out. I've been to Gillette for a few Revs games. My first time there, I actually saw AC Milan versus Benfica.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
I got to go hang out with a couple of my buddies from another soccer podcast. I can't believe I'm blowing it right now. What the name of their podcast? It's like the Red Card. Goddamn! I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Rui. If you hear this, you guys have got me onto Italian soccer Twitter, and I love it. I love you guys. But they introduced me. I went to a Portuguese tailgate, and it was awesome. I had like little mini beers and stuff. I gotta say, it was a great first experience at Gillette.
I think I remember that one being advertised in Boston. I remember like seeing João Felix. I think that was like right before he left to go to
And
Atletico.
Donnarumma, yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
Donnarumma is a big fucker.
He's
He's a big dude.
huge.
And what,
Unbelievable transition into our next segment here. Fellas, Italy got knocked out of the fucking World Cup by North Macedonia in the 92nd minute.
yeah, they did.
First, 2 World Cups where a former winner, like a recent winner, is not going to be featured in this World Cup. And now they've come off of a Euro win and failed to beat North Macedonia. Before we really chat about the football and like what we think went wrong, I have one thing I just like need to put out into the ether. Every single one of you, all of you who were campaigning for Jorginho to win the Ballon d'Or, you are still on my shit list now and forever. That's all.
Thank you from a City fan to a Liverpool fan.
Not any of you. Just I'm putting that into the ether.
That was my first thought. My gut punch reaction to Italy missing out is, well, that's another 4 years. Nobody can even validate putting Jorginho's name in a Ballon d'Or conversation. I think it was wildly unrealistic to have his name there in the first place. But now having anchored that Italy midfield to yet another non-existent World Cup appearance, it just kind of solidifies that argument. It feels like Italy are scared to go fight on the biggest world stage. I don't know how they lose a game to North Macedonia like this.
Bonucci after the game saying he was like going on about how the system's wrong, that it came down to like one game where they blew it, and that they haven't won in like 6 games. I think they have like 1 win in 6 games. So cheers, Leonardo. I made this pasta especially for the podcast just to troll the fellow Italians who listen. So if you saw me munching on pasta, that wasn't me having dinner. It was me trolling the fuck out of you guys for missing 2 World Cups in a row.
I do want to say I feel bad for our friend Julian.
Yeah, sorry, Julian.
That is a tough loss.
Someone clip that.
Clip that, chat.
Rip, Julian. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just a big feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel bad because I had to watch the U.S. lose 4-0 to Trinidad and Tobago and miss out on the last World Cup. So you know what? They've won the World Cup. They'll fucking get over it.
Yeah, man. For me, just to hop in here, I feel as though it was crazy when someone put in the context that we won't see Italy, and that's if they qualify for the 2026 World Cup. 12 years without Italy in a World Cup.
Yeah.
And when someone said that to me, I went, that's wild. This is like Italian football. This is supposed to be the, creme de la creme, marron. I could not believe, and also to go back to Bonucci's comments, the teams that they drew like the last 5 games,
Yeah.
and it was like Lithuania, it was like all these bad European teams that Ronaldo snapped stat pads against. Sorry, I'm just saying, like, it's not like it was his criticism was mostly against the South American teams, where there's South American teams that have a couple losses or whatever, which I will always make the argument that I believe the South American qualification is much more difficult because of how much better they are. And it's also sad. Oh, you're gonna say Pat.
You'd be right. That's all I was going to say. You'd be
Oh
right.
no, I get where he was trying to go after South America, but like again, like we're not going to see also Colombia. We're not going to see Chile. Like that sucks. That really sucks. And I feel as though with this Italian loss, like you really got to start looking at that Euros run and how it may be overvalued, how Mancini is vastly overvalued as a manager. And this Italian crop, yes, they have some great youth coming up, but like I just think like Italian football in general has just been just a little bit overhyped. And this is kind of like has just really brought it off to the forefront.
I think my initial reaction to that is like if we're talking Euros, not only does it overvalue Mancini, it it kind of pushes Gareth Southgate a little too.
Oh no.
Which I'm fine with.
You know what I mean? Like England did everything to bottle that, but for Italy to miss out on the bigger stage in a game against Macedonia, North Macedonia, my apologies. I think it does both. It pushes those two top leagues in Italy and in England to a different level. Like we have to be critical of these two clubs. They're world leaders in football. And if we're having teams like Italy not make it to the World Cup final with all of that talent, it does force questions. It does force that conversation of, is this overvalued? Does this matter as much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for one, I'm all here for Gareth Southgate slander. And, I'm a big England guy. I'm going to be really messed up if England and US end up in the same group in the World Cup, because then I'm going US. I'm not, I'm not a traitor or anything like that. But, I love It's Coming Home. When that song starts playing, it really does something to me. But yeah, man, I don't know where you go with Italy right now. Like the comparison I'm kind of thinking of it in terms of like a title defense is, and not to get all like to mix American sports or anything like that. I was kind of thinking about the Lakers when I thought about Italy, like just won a title and then 2 years later are probably not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest comparison, and where you have these big names, the coach, and like have all this momentum, and then you kind of change things up and try to change like who you are. I just think like that's kind of where I see these two teams that are just dropping from such a major win and just falling off a cliff.
Yeah. As much as first and foremost, the Mancini slander hurts me a little bit. It really does. But it's valid criticism. It's valid criticism. A team like Italy shouldn't be losing to a team like North Macedonia. That being said, I think you guys have said enough about Italy's shortcomings. I would like to just be the first one on the podcast to praise North Macedonia. They had a game plan. They stuck to it, and they're in a World Cup. And it's a club that going into that game were like 90-10, all the odds stacked against them. I don't think there was a single person who thought they could win that. And in the 92nd minute, they went and did it. And for me, being a fan of a team like the United States that are like the minute we get out of CONCACAF are like chronically the underdogs. It's really, really great to see these smaller teams getting these opportunities to like go play.
Are they in the World Cup, Pat? Not to correct you.
No, actually, they have to beat. I think they actually lost to Portugal today.
Oh no, would it be yesterday? Did they play yesterday?
Yeah, they lost to Portugal. They lost
Okay.
3-0 to Portugal. So my bad. But beating Italy is a big enough accomplishment in and of itself.
Correct.
And I think either way, they should be praised for doing that. And Portugal are a better team, and they should have won, and they did. So
yeah.
Hell of a goal though in the 92nd minute. I was also like, yeah, we were not giving enough praise to them for, spoiling the party. Good for them. I love this. Like when Iceland spoiled in the Euros, all those teams. Yeah. I loved it.
I'm not a Ronaldo fan, so Iceland spoiling it for Portugal that one year. It wasn't it was the year they in the group stage where like they almost didn't do the thing.
Yeah,
I loved that.
Shout out all the Man United fans too. Yesterday, spamming Twitter with Bruno playing good in a big game. That's just a ridiculous statement when you're playing North Macedonia. I love the Bruno slander as well.
Those of you who know me know my thoughts on Bruno Fernandes. That's
regardless. Moving to a different continent. Senegal versus Egypt. We don't have to dive too much into this one. I just thought it was interesting because of the spectacle that was the fans in that arena with all the laser pointers. That was one of the more insane things I've saw, not just in soccer, but in sports in general. The ref having absolutely no thoughts in his mind to maybe stop the match until people put the laser pointers away. Absolutely crazy. I need your guys' take on that one.
I mean, we see laser pointers, but we don't see them to this level. Like I've never seen players painted like this on television and in pictures with laser pointers. There must have been at least 20,000 college professors in the seats that day. Like at least with the amount of laser pointers. At the end of the day, Egypt couldn't get it done. And honestly, I'm hurt for Mo. I'm happy for Mane. Like we're those Liverpool fans again in the same AFCON conversation. It's like, well, shit. Now we have to be happy and sad at the same time, because we want to see all of our players succeed in their international competitions. But to see the laser pointers, I don't think at the end of the day the laser pointers were the end all be all. But in that situation, they do cause harm. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, it was in Salah's face when he's running up to take the penalty. It was pretty egregious. And they were doing it to the Egypt goalie as well, who's been stellar saving penalties, in the past calendar year. I like the comments from Mo, too, after the game. Those were a little interesting about him maybe retiring from international football.
Already?
Did he say that? Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
He thanked his teammates and said it's been great playing with you. If I never get the chance to play with you again,
he put a messy line. Messi does that like every other week, and I'm a Messi stan. But
last night when they after their draw, he alluded.
Did he? I love Messi and LeBron. They do that stuff all the time, and they do like the greatness stuff, and like I don't know, but I was first off. That was fucked up. The laser thing, it was a whole nightclub on the pitch. I really want to know more about the intricacies though of like how much planning was there, like laser pointers throughout the match? Were they saved just for the penalty? Were there like Discord group chat? First off, our Discord doesn't have any laser pointers, but were there like group chats like and like all these different things where they were like how it was so organized? Because it wasn't just like, because I've seen matches where it's just one or two, literally like Josh was saying, they were painted. It was like they were polka dotted across their whole body. That's why I think it stuck out so much to me, because I've seen it a few times. I'm like, that's some random dickhead. I wish somebody in the crowd, like I wish there was more, self-regulation within the fandom and stuff like that to realize this is not cool. A lot of people would be like, oh, these Senegal fans, they're being the 12th man on the pitch. And it's like, no, that's not being a 12th. I've seen a lot of people try to spin zone this, and I don't like it at all. It's like, oh, they're being the 12th man out there. It's like, that's not being the 12th. That's just cheating. Right. That's just straight up cheating.
That is hindering a player's ability to see. That is taking a human's ability to operate at a normal level. And when there's that much, it does raise those questions. It's not just one or two.
Yeah, and like going back to what Josh said too, I do understand what the ref being an idiot in this situation, but I also kind of understand the ref where like if he stops the game, if these fans are just doing this, like would they like storm the pitch? Would they start getting upset? Like you have to think about crowd control, stuff like that. So I feel like the ref is just like, all right, we're going to penalties. Let's just get this over with. Whoever wins, wins. Fuck it. Like let's just get out of here because it seems like everything was already turned up to 11.
Yeah.
If only Egypt had access to lightsabers, you know.
Twitter was great after it as well. I saw someone made like a tweet about like what Egypt was looking at when taking penalties, and it was the D Generation X like intro music with all the flashing green lights. It was a content wonder world after that game.
That is the example of soccer Twitter being okay. There are a lot more that are like soccer Twitter is a very dangerous place.
It's a cesspool. It is such a cesspool, and I am so. Oh, go. Sorry, Pat.
I was gonna say it's 75-25, like real bad, and then there's 25% is just like this is fine. I like it here.
Yeah, I just feel like everyone, and like again, like we're in the take game. We do our soccer pod. We have Twitters, Instagram, stuff like that. Everyone has to have a take nowadays, but it's okay not to. Like you can just sit back. It's totally fine not to have like, oh, like Mohamed Salah can only show up for Egypt, like or no, sorry, he only shows up for Liverpool because he's part of Klopp's system, and like he doesn't show up for Egypt in big games. I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like I just like all the stats will tell me that that's just not true. Maybe it's because he plays for a way better squad with Liverpool than say Egypt. But I just feel like people will just like Mo Salah has a couple bad games with Egypt. He's only good under Klopp's system. Like everyone has to have a crazy take after things like this happen.
I mean, Mo's had plenty of bad games under Klopp, so
Overrated.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible.
There you go.
Awful.
I want to see it. I want to see the pod fight.
Somebody give me a bad right winger. Quick, go fast.
Jordan Ibe.
He's a Egyptian Jordan Ibe.
Adama Traore.
Welcome. He's playing well now. He can't be overrated. He's good for Barcelona now.
How many goals has he scored for Barca? How many goals has he scored for Barca?
He got like 4 assists already, but that's not the point. I'm angry that he's doing well.
Can we digress like 10 seconds? Kevin mentioned just like hot takes in general. Being an Arsenal fan, what do you think of AFTV?
AFTV is interesting to me because I really do like Big Robbie. I think what Big Robbie has done for the brand, he's done a lot of positive things. But that has also spurned out into the crazy personalities with horrible people under it. Like that one guy, DT. I forget who. DT. That guy sucks. There's a couple other people who got like called. There's the one Arsenal fan TV guy who was doing like this the slanted eye stereotype about Song Hyun-min, like an Asian like racist. I don't know. There's a lot of bad things about Arsenal fan TV, but I think what Big Robbie does and the ability to create like a sense of community and fandom, I think that does some good stuff once in a while. But man, they've had some stinkers in terms of people in the past couple of years. But shout out Big Robbie. I think Big Robbie's great. Or Troops, the guy at Barstool. I fucking can't stand that guy. I think he's so annoying. He's just like, he just plays a character. And like, of course, like even me, like I get a little bit more animated, like on a podcast, on my own show. Like, but I try not to, like that guy just goes insane. And in terms of hot takes too, it's pretty incredible.
I enjoy watching Troops just for the reactions. It's not even that I like enjoy it or like relate to it. It's just so funny to watch him like, kind of.
Every goal scored against Arsenal should not have happened.
Fam, blood. We can't possibly. No, like I can't do it, man.
Sick of this guy.
He yells to the point that like that Zimbo can't say anything.
Yeah, and he's awesome. He's actually the most reasonable person. I think he's great. And I've had some like talks, interactions with him, and every time I talk to him, he's been like the what's it called, the sound person in the room. Like
he's the one that's like, okay,
voice of reason.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, he's the voice of reason.
Yeah, so that was talking AFTV with an Arsenal. Let's
It's a
talk
mixed
about
bag.
something that Kevin probably has little to no input on, unfortunately, but I need to complain a little bit. Well, not complain. I need to just speak. I have things I need to say. The United States didn't lose to Mexico, which is fucking tight. And then they won their next game. Someone help me. Who'd they play? Quick.
Panama.
Panama. They beat the shit out of Panama. Um, Feels like one foot in the door to the World Cup. I've been saying it the past couple of weeks. I will say it again. I was wrong about saying we weren't going to qualify for the World Cup. I think that was a little rash. I was a little upset at the moment. Gio Reyna being back is, oh my God, fellas, fucking Gio Reyna. Oh my God, that little run he went
Yeah, it was
on.
insane.
Oh my God,
He's a baller.
Missed him.
Him and Christian, man. Oh my God.
Him healthy with McKinney and Pulisic and a remotely confident striker. I don't care who it is at this point. Just whoever is scoring the most goals right when the World Cup starts.
Just put Christian up top. Let him play the number 9. That goal he had, the third goal against Panama, was Bergkamp-esque. Just the way he flicks that and drags it back across the second defender. Oh.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Panama.
I'll allow the Bergkamp comment, but just because I like Christian. But
I was happy with the Panama performance. One of our better performances too. That being said, I don't think we were like super bad against Mexico. I think we did what we had to do at arguably one of the toughest stadiums for any team to go to, let alone a team with, unfortunately, the type of quality that the U.S. has. The Azteca is like a notoriously terrible place for us to go play. Coming out with 4 points in that World Cup, and I'm happy. I'm over the moon with those 2 games.
Yeah, no, this is how we should, as a country, be playing. I think the addition of Tyler Adams back into the side as well has been immense defensively, and that control in the midfield that he provides, especially without Weston McKennie. I just think it speaks to what we can do as a country, even when we do have a knock here and there, especially in that Panama game. There were a lot of big moments that I think we all can kind of touch on and look at and say that was a crucial moment. Pereira taking the ball Ferreira, sorry, taking the ball and holding it, waiting for the verbal assault before the penalty's ready to go twice. And then just being patient when VAR is needed. We looked like we knew what we were doing out there for 90 straight minutes.
Which that's new.
It felt good.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was that we played a strong lineup. I don't understand Greg sometimes. He just puts out these weird Doc Rivers lineups sometimes just to bring in the Sixers. But like sometimes
Greg, huh? You don't I fucking hate Greg Berhalter. Sorry.
Greg the Egg, man. Greg the Egg. Sometimes I just think he tries to big brain it. And I don't understand him when you have this young crop of amazing talent. I hate when he tries to grab at MLS players when we have so much great. And there's no shot at MLS players. We have a lot of great MLS players, but we have so much young rising talent in Europe that like when he didn't start Gio for the Panama game, I was like, what are we doing?
He's just coming back from injury though, so like that makes sense to me.
But yeah, I mean, unless we have another Trinidad and Tobago, not to give you some PTSD, Pat, we are qualifying for the U.S. We are qualifying for U.S. men's national. We are qualifying for the fucking World Cup. Unless we lose like 6-0 or 7-1, which would be a crazy knock on wood. I'll knock on wood. That's not going to happen. So this all should be rejoiced. There should be a time to rejoice. I was really deflated after we didn't qualify for the last World Cup, and I just finally feel like now, after the past year or two, with all this amazing young talent, I'm still not confident in Greg at all. Who is? But you know what? We're going to the World Cup. Let's strap in and support these guys.
Oh,
Hey, at least we don't have to go up against Italy.
Yeah. Well, that's what England's saying right now. They're like, finally, the championship is ours.
Yeah, Southgate's probably at home thinking, "Oh, thank God we just won the World Cup."
We only have to listen to Taylor Twellman one more time too. Commentate our games.
That's the real. I only have to listen to Taylor Twellman for one more game, and then I can just mute Alexi Lawless for the entire World Cup, and my life will be so much better.
I'm just covering the Revs logo for a second. Hold
Who
on.
does Alexi Lawless?
Is the Twellman slander done?
I can't stand him. Sorry, but I can't stand him.
Twelman, I'm okay with. I can't stand Alexi Lawless, and I'm a ginger, so that doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like, I try and like Josh Sargent. I'll die on that hill. Put him at the number 9. I love Josh Sargent. I think he's hurt right now, though, right?
I don't believe so. I just don't think he's getting minutes at Norwich.
Yeah, he was though for a minute. He scored a couple goals for them. But anyway,
yeah,
I can't keep up with Relic.
He had a good run of form after that Scorpion flick that he had for a
that was sick.
He had a good little run of form, and then it just Teemu Pukki is our man. Teemu Pukki will bring us to where we need to go.
I mean, he is
fortunately,
yes.
Players stink. Anyway,
but yeah, go U.S. men's national team. This should be celebrated.
The verbiage I have on the graphic too of USMNT qualify as if it already happened is like the biggest potential mush of all time. Just like
they already brought the banner out too. Like, why
that was
haven't
bad.
we talked about that?
Yeah,
that was bad.
Like that was like all the bad juju. I was like, okay, that's the nail in the coffin right there. And then they awkwardly like close it and bring it back while the other one goes up. It was like, okay, now all the players can't get involved. Now all the players are like covering up the mistake. Like somebody clearly grabbed the wrong banner and handed it to them. But it's
fine. Everything's fine. Anyway,
we'll find out tonight. Couple more hours.
I won't be sad. I promise I won't be sad. You guys want to talk about the Premier League coming up because April is about to get weird. Before Mitch and Josh and I get to chat about how many times City is going to beat Liverpool over the course of this month, I would really like to get, now knowing you're an Arsenal fan, Kevin, how do you feel about Arsenal's run-in April? Because this really could be a decisive month for you guys and in making the top 4. So, before Mitch, Josh, and I scream at each other for 10 minutes, tell us about Arsenal. How are you feeling? What do you think this upcoming kind of congested spring, run of fixtures is going to bring you guys? And do you think Arsenal are going to get through it and get to the top 4? I think you're going to do it. But what do you think?
Yeah. So our main competition right now would be what? Manchester United, Spurs, and
West Ham hanging around there at all?
West Ham's hanging around. I feel like Chelsea's also, but I feel like they've just kind of like slotted in at 3. So I think it's definitely between Spurs, West Ham, Man United, and then there's us. I, as an Arsenal fan, want to believe that we will be sitting in Champions League football next year. And I kind of believe it. I feel as though the Arsenal that was the 8th place team that it was last year has made significant strides. I think the signings that we've made and the improvement by certain players, I think Thomas Partey in particular is not getting enough love. The way he has stepped up and being able to control midfield, Odegaard, everything flows through him. He's been an immense signing. And I mean, ESR and Saka, I mean, come on now. They're just so fun to watch. They're just having a great time out there. It's just good because like rival fans are upset that we're having fun again. And that feels good because we haven't felt that in a long time. Most of the time, like I think we talked in the pre-show, we were the meme club. And we still are, we're also Fashion FC. I saw our new jerseys got released today.
Those were fire. The black one was nice.
The black one was really nice. Also the pink. The pink was pretty good. So I actually haven't bought a jersey in a while because I've been so lethargic about Arsenal over the past couple of years with Arteta, Unai Emery coming in after Wenger. But yeah, I look at Spurs and just how I think Arsenal has been the most consistent team. So I think with that consistency, I know we have the makeup game against Chelsea this month, right?
Yes.
and I haven't looked at the entire schedule for April yet. But I feel confident in the squad because the games that we used to lose or draw last year, we're winning those games, and we're also drawing the games where we usually drop 3 points. And I just think the flow, the chemistry of this team will allow them to get into the top 4. But
it's a tough run-in for you. I pulled up the games real quick. So this Monday you have Palace, which is tough because it's away from home at Selhurst Park against Patrick Vieira. Brighton, Southampton, Chelsea, Man United, West Ham. So that 3 run of game.
West Ham's May 1st. Don't get it twisted.
Right before my birthday. Perfect. I would say it is a tough run, but a couple of those clubs are dealing with Europe. Yep. A couple of the clubs are dealing with a lot of injuries and a lot of dysfunction. So I don't know, man. I feel good about this current Arsenal squad. And I feel as though we're still not going into games like I feel like we've been very humbled by this season too. To be able to have this type of like young blooded team with not like getting rid of the personality of Aubameyang, which I talked about in the pre-show. Like I was very not excited, but I was thinking it was the right move because those were the type of guys we let sit around for too long, gave them too much money, and then they just weren't performing after they got the big contract. I know he's doing very well at Barcelona. I saw the hat trick. I saw everything, but I definitely think with Lacazette and this young core, like I think that was the change that was needed. But yeah, my long-winded answer, if I look at Antonio Conte's Spurs, I would probably, if I were to pick someone else, it would be just because I think Antonio Conte is the best manager out of all the rest who's left. Yeah. And then probably Manchester United just from a sheer, I mean, Manchester United should be the 4 just on sheer talent. They have the most talent out of anybody. And West Ham, I love West Ham. I love David Moyes. David Moyes is a great manager as well, but I just don't see it.
That's fair. I'm impressed by Arsenal this year. Arsenal's the club I like to kind of pick at a little bit on Twitter, if I'm being honest. I always get in little digs with their fans. The thing I still have a problem with Arsenal that I think like Liverpool really exposed, I still don't think the center back partnership is 100%. I'm not like 100% sold on Gabriel. Gabriel's the one I'm a little bit concerned of as a defender. I think the guy that's at Lille right now, I'm blanking on his name.
Salabia.
Yeah, Salabia. I think he might honestly slot better into that position. I like Ben White. Gabriel's just looked a little bit suspect at times in terms of positioning and ball playing, not really looking up and stuff like that. But I do think Arsenal will probably get top 4, and it does feel a little bit like kind of those first couple years under Jurgen Klopp before we had European football. That there's a culture building, and I think the fans are starting to see it at the ground and stuff as well. So, good stuff to see. But I guess we can switch gears here a little bit to Man City, Liverpool. Pat, you feeling any differently? Just like letting the nerves build a little bit over the past couple weeks.
Before we go there, I just one more thing. Involve our guests just one more time, and then us three can kill each other for 10 minutes. Kevin, gun to your head right now. Who's winning the Premier League title?
I gave my answer on the last pod. And, you know, there's no offense to Josh and Mitchell and Pat. I've just met you, but I've picked Man City. Just because if I'm looking at no, Pat, don't. This is not.
That's for them. That's for them.
If you don't want to, if you visual aid for everyone else, Pat was flipping off the others. But what I want to say is just because Man City has the depth, they have just the history behind the past couple years. If I'm betting on them winning the past like 3 out of 4 Premier Leagues, am I betting on Pep Guardiola football, where he pretty much just plays without a striker forever? No, I don't.
That's it. Let's get you on more often.
No, Pat, I'm just saying. I appreciate Liverpool, and I think what Liverpool has done to actually make it a title race, where I was the dumb fuck who said it was over in December on me.
We all were.
I said that as well.
I'm glad it is a title race. If Liverpool pull this out, I am not upset as many other people who are fans of other clubs would be if either of these teams win. I am would not mind either of these teams winning the Premier League. But again, like I'm just looking at just strictly the history here of Man City and just being clinical in the end. So, I think of the title race like 3 years ago when it ended up, what was it? And I don't mean to bring up bad memories. It was 98 to 97 points, right?
Yes, sir.
Company with that stupid fucking goal from 35
Against
yards
Leicester.
out.
Yes.
Fucking legendary, man. That's the stuff of fucking.
Pat,
I shut the TV off when that happened. I shut the fucking thing off and I walked away.
That's the life of being a Liverpool fan. You're just waiting for that moment. You're waiting for that moment every single week, and week to week, your blood pressure is like 150 watching these games because you're just waiting for something bad.
Yeah, sponsor us, Whoop. We need to know what our heart rate is. We need to know what the fuck is going on when these games are happening because it's getting out of hand.
Before Josh and Mitch go, I'll give my 2 cents. I'm a little less nervous than I was the last time we recorded. That being said, I think the less nerves are because I've accepted the fact that we're gonna fucking bottle it.
You wait.
Oh,
I still think we're gonna bottle the title.
What information are you working on that we don't have?
well, what title have you ever bottled, Pat?
I just think it's gonna happen. It just feels like there's this perfect storm for Liverpool to come back and beat us. It's all gonna boil down to.
Are you spinning this into a you're gonna win the Champions League thing though? Like you're gonna use that energy to go on?
We're gonna lose the semifinals of the Champions League too. We might win the FA Cup this year. I think.
Oh, it's the FA Cup, in which we also play you next.
We might beat you in that. I don't fucking know, dude. My biggest thing I'm seeing with City in these past couple of games is, yeah, they've got all this quality and like they're comfortable playing without a striker, but the Palace game showed it. And honestly, we beat Southampton 4-1, but that game showed it in the first half too, where these little individual errors keep popping up in the wrong places. Like Southampton got back into the game because of a Laporte own goal. And we're just like not super great in front of goal. Those 3 missed chances by Bernardo against Palace really stick out in my head, but that's kind of been the theme all season. Outside of that, I think it was like that 7-0 or that like big win we had a couple months ago. City have looked pretty pedestrian, and most games are just like going through the gears, and the individual quality in the side is going to outgrind a lot of these teams that are just like sit back and play scared and let City kind of take the game to them, and eventually they'll break them down. But teams like Palace that play them, they get a point. Teams like Liverpool will play them. But teams like Tottenham that play them, 0 points in 2 games against them, 1 point or 2 points against Southampton. These teams that get in City's face, knowing all they have to do is bypass the press and be organized at the back because they don't have a recognized number 9. It's coming. It's just rearing its head, and I am afraid that even if we draw with Liverpool on this upcoming game, that we'll draw a couple more times, and this Liverpool side feel like they are winning games. And I can't always say that about City. And that's why I think it'll be close. But ultimately, I just have this feeling that City are going to bottle it and Liverpool are going to win the league by a couple of points come the end of May.
I love that. I love hearing that from you. I think you don't bet against an angry Mo Salah. That's kind of my number one reason for this. And also, Liverpool got quite a few players that are just like well rested. Trent in Dubai recovering. I still don't buy that he was injured. I think that's fully.
So did City. Let's just none of our fucking first teamers got called up except for Kyle Walker because Trent was injured.
What?
Nobody. De Bruyne didn't get called
I
up.
thought Walker did get called up.
Yeah, because
yeah, that's what he's saying.
But none of our like key guys really got called up. Like Foden did, but he's a fucking spring chicken. Kid's 22 years old and he's fucking everywhere. Grealish got called up, but would you call Grealish a key guy?
Some of our older players then, because Thiago didn't get called up to Spain. Joel Matip obviously doesn't play for Cameroon. So we have some of our kind of more experienced guys that just, I think, got a nice little break, which is important for them.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
This international break.
Pat just raised the question. He wouldn't call Grealish a key guy for
I
a
wouldn't.
hundred million. I would consider him a key guy.
Not this season. What city are you watching,
I,
pal?
I'm. That's the point I'm making. Is if you go out and spend that kind of money on somebody, you would expect a key guy.
Hey, as someone who has Pepe, I get it, Pat.
Mahrez, record signing when we first got him. Not a great first season. Since his first season, he has been undoubtedly our best attacker and our best winger. You can never ever judge a Pep forward on their first season.
I
Second,
won't. I'm not. I'm saying right now. We're talking right now. We're talking the present. We're talking the
And
Premier League title push.
I'm being the realistic guy and saying Grealish has not been a key player this year. He just
No, he hasn't.
You
No,
know
he
what's gonna
hasn't.
happen
I
now?
know he hasn't.
Jack's gonna score like the winning goal to win the Premier League, and all the Man City fans are gonna be like,
He is.
"Worth it! It was totally worth it. The 100 million. He got the one goal, like they did with what's his name? The Belgian guy who won Chelsea the Premier League that one year with Antonio Conte. He scored like the goal. The
Batshuayi.
Batshuayi, yeah.
Batman. Oh yeah. God damn. What a deep cut that is.
That was sick. I liked that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know. I just don't feel super confident in City. Mitch and Josh, you guys can give your 2 cents now, but I'm just scared. I don't think we're gonna do
Yeah.
it. I think something's gonna happen.
I mean, that's fair. I think Liverpool do run away with it. I think their midfield healthy is just like awesome this year. That trio of Henderson, Thiago, and Fab is just unreal in the middle. I love that, and I think bringing that back, the addition of Louis Diaz just adds more depth up front for them. Firmino coming off the bench can just completely change a game in the way he moves. Jota, consistent. Mane's coming back happy. Salah's coming back pissed off. Great combination. I love it. It's hard to see this Liverpool side like not being the favorite every single game they play from here to the end of the season.
Except the City game, and that's the one that like I said, I think that's really going to be if City win that game at the Etihad, I can see them going on to win it, but I don't see them winning. Is the issue I have with that game.
I could see Pep big braining that and like trying to come up with like too elaborate of a game plan like he does in the Champions League sometimes, and that he's gonna like try like analyzing what Jurgen's gonna do. Jurgen's just gonna run the ball down his fucking throat and literally just play rock and roll football like he always does. I think Pep knows that, but I just feel like Pep's going to overthink and try to do something too big because he thinks it's such an important match when Klopp's just going to stick to his guns and Liverpool's just going to play the Liverpool way and I think get the 3 points on that day.
I guess the past couple of years, though, City kind of, I don't want to say figured Liverpool out because that feels like a really gross overstatement. But if you just look at these past fixtures, like you haven't beaten us in like 2 years in the league now, is it?
Yeah.
It's been like a draw at Anfield, loss at the Etihad for you. You know what I mean? I think Pep, I don't know if he'll overthink it, but my fear is he'll be too conservative, and three points is a must if City want to win the title there. So I guess that's my only 2 cents.
I will say that we are just now 11 days away from the Premier League match.
Dude, you're 11 days away from having to see me like 3 times or 2 times in 10 days. That's terrible.
Yeah. It's we've been talking about it a lot. The culmination is coming. It's been 5 months. It's been 4 months. We're down to 11 days until the City Liverpool match happens.
Do we play at like a reasonable hour of the day? Can I be drunk by the time you get
11:30? No,
oh my god, I'm having a shower beer.
That's too much time. That's way too much time.
That is the prime time match of the day. Like that is the culmination of everything. It is Super Bowl Sunday at 11:30 a.m.
Oh, I can't fucking wait. Oh my god.
I have like a dumb question.
Yeah.
So let's go to the hypothetical of the April 10th game between Man City and Liverpool. Whichever team wins, do you think the other team just decides to then just focus on the Champions League? Because like I've heard the ESPN FC, the dumb Twitter takes like, oh, the team should just focus on one thing. I think both teams are too competitive. These two managers are too smart and competitive to do that. I think they'll both try to compete on both fronts. But do you think there's a part of you anywhere that thinks like one of them, like say if like Man City or Liverpool beats one team 3-0, like it is an ass whooping, and they go, all right, got to refocus. Let's just focus on this one thing.
If City get the shit kicked out of them, I only want us to focus on the Champions League. As a City fan, all the jokes here they fucking come, but never fucking won the Champions League. God, I want to win the fucking Champions League. If we get our asses kicked, but it means we refocus and win the Champions League, dude, for lack of a better term, I'd nut.
I think in either scenario, if we win or lose on April 10th, we're still going for a treble.
Okay.
I think Liverpool are in a position right now where if we get the shit kicked out of us on April 10th in the Premier League, we go in 6 days later and play City again at Wembley on neutral ground, and we win that game and we move on through the FA Cup.
Neutral ground. City love Wembley these past couple of years, pal.
It's not Anfield, it's not the Etihad. Regardless of neutral ground, it's not either of our castles that we built.
It was labeled Anfield South for a while back in the day.
So I do think if the Premier League
talk to me then.
If the Premier League comes off the table at that point, the FA Cup and the Champions League become the focus.
Yeah.
However, if we win, the City are now out of the Premier League race. We're still focused on Wembley, and
really, I don't know about that either.
And City become are focused on the Champions League. I think with our Soda Cup victory in hand already, I think that puts us in a position where we're a little bit more comfortable navigating these three different, tournaments.
Out of the Premier League race is a stretch. If you beat us, it's 2 points.
Yeah.
If you establish a 2-point lead at this point, I don't see you dropping more points than we would.
Brother, I've seen you with 2 games in hand.
But do you get where I'm coming? Do you get where I'm coming from? Do you get where I'm coming from?
No, 2 points.
You're not that. All I'm hearing is you're not confident in your side to hold on to that 2-point lead until the end of the season.
Yeah, but saying that the team is out of a title race with a 2-point gap.
I just want to say I never said that anyone's out of the title race. I just wanted to see if any of the teams changed gears a little bit. Or Mitch, you did. Sorry,
I said that. Don't put that blame on yourself. I said that. I mean,
I felt bad. I was like, I thought I worked people up.
And maybe
this is happening regardless of whether you were here or not.
I've known this kid for way too long to not scream at him. No, I just think maybe I'm over speaking with out of the title race. I think this loss means a lot in the title race, and 2 points could mean a big difference when it comes to the final 5-6 fixtures of the season.
Now that I'll agree with, but out of the title race is wild.
Sorry, I put it out of context.
We're gonna argue Sam's answer for just a second.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I just think Liverpool are in a better position to navigate the 3 different competitions that they're in right now. Should they lose or win in the Premier League against City on April 10th?
I want the Premier League. I just want to celebrate.
I do too. I want the vibes.
About the most. I'm surprised you don't want the Champions League, Mitch, so you can have a better game than the one in 2019.
Who wouldn't want a better game than the one in 2019?
Gotta dig. We'll move on. I have some quick picks. We don't have to talk about these games. I'm just gonna give them out pretty much. Let me just edit the box. Logistics company. First one, Liverpool versus Watford this weekend. I think Liverpool are absolutely gonna shithouse Watford at home. Salah to score. Actually, Salah as the first score, plus 240. We're going heavy on that. I think he's going to come into this game on a mission, maybe even get like a hattie. I think he's just going to have an incredible game. And I have Liverpool to have a clean sheet as well, minus 155. A little bit juicy there, but I don't see Watford scoring against this Liverpool defense. That's been pretty consistent lately.
Show me the 3-0 like when you guys were supposed to go undefeated. That's all I'm saying.
I knew someone was going to bring that up. That wasn't going to go unmentioned. West Ham Everton. I have the West Ham money line -125. That's easy as can be. Everton are very, 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 very bad under Frank.
Poor Frank. Poor Frankie boy.
He's just not getting any balls to go his way, even when he does put out a decent game plan.
Well, quick question around the room, though. Did they get relegated? Just yes or no?
No.
No? Mitch says yes.
That was my hot.
You
that
have
was
been
my
biased,
hot.
though.
That
like 4 weeks ago.
If not longer, we're talking like definitely over a month ago. I said Everton are getting
Frank. It was right when they started to slide. Mitch was like, they're getting relegated. So Mitch is riding with the relegation.
Yep.
I think they barely hold on.
Yeah, they have
Right
too
now,
much individual talent.
They're 3 points clear with 2 games in hand over Watford and Norwich.
Yeah.
Burnley are sitting with 2 games in hand as well. 4 points behind them. So
barely.
if Burnley get their results, I mean, Everton don't have an easy end of the season.
Yeah, Burnley play us this weekend. That's 3 points lost right there.
Right. But we see Everton Burnley on April 6th.
That's actually going to be such a fucking good game.
And then Everton play United, Palace, Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester again, Brentford, and Arsenal to finish the schedule.
Stop. He's already dead.
All right, keep it going, Josh, but they might get
I still don't think they get relegated. Palace Arsenal, already mentioned this one. I have Arsenal money line +105. I think it'll be a tough game, but I think they see it out. Like a 1-0, maybe a 2-0. I think it will be a really good game. Keep your eye on it because Selhurst Park will be vibes this weekend. Tottenham Newcastle, another really, really good game. Love the way Newcastle's been playing the past 2 months. They've just been really fun to watch. Over 2.5 goals in this one, -125. Seems like an easy pick here. Wolves Villa. I have the Villa draw, no bet. I think I got this one wrong the last time these two played because I think Stevie might have been one of his first couple games as manager. I like Villa in this one. I think Villa had that little slip up for a couple weeks, but I think they're now back on the rise. Chelsea Brentford. I have Brentford covering +1.5 in this one, -125. I think Chelsea win this one 1-0, but Brentford won't lose by multiple goals, I think. Chelsea's just been playing a little bit weird lately. They're not really killing teams. Really narrow score lines for them lately. Leeds Southampton. This one's fun. Jesse Marsh, that game, I don't even know if we talked about it the last time out, coming back from 2-0 down to win 3-2. Looks like he could be building something. He's had a few digs at English reporters that I've really liked, just about him being American and stuff. Really like what Leeds are doing. Definitely going to stay up after it looked a little bit questionable. I have the Leeds draw, no bet in this one. Man United against Leicester. I have a Man United win and over 1.5 goals. Again, pretty straightforward because Leicester have been, frankly, pretty shit this season. And then a bonus one just to throw in there because I'm going to the game. Minnesota United, money line, +125 against Seattle Sounders. They beat them the last time they played last season. Robin Lod, who was away with Finland right now with Teemu Pukki, scored the winning goal in that game. So I'm riding with Minnesota United. Those are Rick's picks. Bet responsibly, and the betting is going great.
411 if you need it.
Yeah, exactly. The betting has gone great this year. 140 picks. We're hitting 60%. So yeah, keep it moving.
Damn. Sorry, that's so good.
We're up 20, 22 units. We're doing really, really good with the bets. Some weeks
and that's with a 1 for 11 or 12 week in there.
It was I think it was 3 for 12 or 2 for 12, something like that. It was really, really bad. We've been hot lately, but yeah, that's Rick's picks. Nothing too much. We're not going to dive into the international stuff or the other top 5 leagues this week, just because a lot going on with the Prem and with a guest on the pod. The last thing, do you guys have anything else to add, Mitch, Pat?
No, not a thing. Rick's picks is yours, dog.
Perfect. Last thing we had was a small first-time segment with a guest, a Legends 5-a-side lineup. thought this would be a good way just to kind of break the ice a little bit more and get to know a little bit more about what you think of some soccer legends. So, Kevin, what do you got for a Legends 5-a-side team for us?
Man, thank you again for setting the notes before the pod, because I never do that for my guests, and that's very considerate of you guys. So thank you again for that and having me on. This is me stalling, and I am thinking of my 5-a-side at this moment, but I definitely have Henri in there. Am I allowed to put Henri at left wing and not striker?
Yeah, you can do whatever formation you want. You could play 5 strikers if you want.
Okay, so I would have Henri at left wing, R9 at striker. My cam is Zidane.
Okay.
And then goalkeeper, I'd probably Buffon's retired, right? Am I crazy? No, he's still playing.
Buffon's still playing.
He's still in Malmo. Fuck. That just throws such a wrench in there.
Goalie's a tough one.
Goalie, Petr Cech. I'll do Cech.
Ooh.
And then right wing, or who would I have on the right?
Not one defensive player in a 5-a-side team.
Oh yeah, I should probably have a defensive player. I would probably I'll do for shits and gigs, I'll do Tony Adams. I'll throw another Arsenal player in there.
That's a good one. I like that. Saul Campbell would have been another good shout.
Yeah, I love Soul, God, but Tony Adams is just a meme. He's so funny.
Yeah, he's great. That's a good lineup. I like that one. I like R9 would definitely be in mine. So we'll have to do
some bias.
Yeah.
Aguero's retired, so I have to put him in a retired 5-a-side if I was to do one.
Goalie was a tough one. When you were thinking of goalies, I was kind of going in through my head, and I was like, oh, sheesh. I'd go with that little guy with the hat in FIFA.
I saw the question. I'm like, I'm gonna write this out. I'm gonna do my homework, and then I showed up to class and just did it right there in front of the teacher. So I'm sorry. I probably have a better 5-a-side out there. That's like the first one I come up with. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's got R9 and Henri in the same team. You're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, those two with Zidane in the midfield. Shout out Pat for helping me. I was like, I'm just gonna do all out attack, no defenders whatsoever.
Like, hey, just in case you don't have the ball.
Oh man.
And just to close out the pod real quick, just to stay on brand with your guys' podcast, a little bit with ours too. You're in Boston now, correct?
Yes.
So you're familiar with New England and stuff. Can you give me 5 beers in any order from New England that might be your favorite? You can include some Philly ones too. Shout them out.
Oh yeah, I'll just do Boston beers. Cool. I really like Night Shift. Night Shift Brewery is really good. Oh, is that what you're having?
Yeah. Fun plug about me. I do social media marketing, and one of the people I work for is Taza Chocolate. They're like a tiny chocolate company in Mass. They just
shit.
They did a 10th anniversary beer with Night Shift, and not sponsored, but they did shoot me a 4-pack up after all the
hell yeah. Shout out Night Shift. They're awesome, man. Treehouse Brewery, you guys are probably super familiar with. That's a great brewery. Castle Island Brewery. I walk around Castle Island all the time. They just opened up a big one down in Southie, this big brewery. It had their logo looks like the Arsenal logo, so obviously biased there. Right. I'm trying to think. Sam Adams is good. Sam Adams is, the summer ale, the winter ale, the shandy, whatever. It's okay. It's not. It's okay. Ooh, I don't know.
Sam Adams is Boston's version of Shipyard.
I hate them.
Fair enough. And I like Shipyard too, but I totally get the comparison. And then I'm trying to think. What's that one brewery down by Seaport I always go to? It always gives me Irish vibes. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I feel like, what was that? 4 beers?
Yeah, we can round out 4.
We can say 4 is fine.
My favorite beer, I love Dogfish Head. I'm biased. My grandparents are from the Delaware area. I go to the Dogfish Head Brewery all summer, so I think Dogfish Head is my favorite. When Sequench Ale, I fucking love that shit. 60-minute, all their beers are so good.
We saw you drinking Allagash White on the Instagram the other day. You an Allagash White guy?
Oh, it's okay. It was in
that's like my favorite
fridge.
beer.
Damn, Allagash White is okay, but you're gonna put Sam Adams in your top 5?
I was just honestly, this was kind of like my 5-a-side with the Legends. It was kind of I was riffing. Dude.
I'm so hurt.
Allagash Way is very good. I just never. It's just when I have it, I go, this was very good, and then I forget about it. I'm sorry. I don't.
Man.
Hey! At least he's had these, Pat. I went gluten free before I turned 21, and I went to school in Portland, Maine, with a bunch of craft breweries that I couldn't drink their beer. So
yeah, Kevin, if you ever find yourself in the state of Maine and you're like, shit, I want to drink some beer. Hit me up on Instagram, brother. I've got you. You just need to be able to.
How far are you guys from like Portland? Because I've never been to Portland. I've only driven through Portland. I gotta say, me and my girlfriend, we had a great time in Maine. We went up and stayed in a yurt or whatever the shit it was.
Oh, yep.
Like a little teepee shit, and it was awesome. And we went kayaking. We passed through Portland. I've heard Portland has crazy breweries and Maine's a great place.
I lived in Portland last year, and I moved back home because it's really expensive to live in Portland by yourself, and I couldn't find room. I will be moving back to Portland by like middle of the summer, end of spring kind of deal. So,
and I'll be doing the same thing with South Portland in June. So me and Pat will be brew buddies.
We've got you. We've got you.
Hell yeah. No, I'll definitely come up and hang. Maybe we'll catch a game. That'd be great.
I know a couple really good soccer bars in Portland too, because soccer is a really big sport in Portland. They love soccer in Portland.
Oh, also shout out Trillium and Harpoon. I love going to Harpoon and getting fucked up in the summer. Right on the water. Great. And Trillium was the one in Seaport. Also great. So I just want to give those two a shout out too. Great breweries.
Trillium is like one of the best breweries in the country.
Yeah.
Love that.
Well, that was dope. Kevin, again, thanks so much for coming on.
Very
Great
much.
Guest.
Awesome riffing with you, dude. If you ever need a guest, hit us up. One of us will fucking show up. Again, just blessings. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It was a pleasure having you. Josh, Mitch, you guys got any closing thoughts?
I've got clothing thoughts, and this jersey's sick. But my closing thoughts are no, much appreciated for you coming on, talking footy, drinking with the boys, and having a good time. It's always fun bringing a new face onto the pod and having somebody come chat and give a different perspective.
Yeah, tune into the Instagram this week as well, or this weekend, I should say, for the Minnesota United content. I'll be filming a little bit there, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube if you haven't already.
Hell yeah. Make sure you give the Lads podcast to listen to. Go find them, same place you can find us, anywhere podcasts are available. If you're watching on YouTube, also ding the bell, ding that shit so you know whenever we post our videos. Rate us on Spotify if you haven't yet already. And then lastly, if you're going to a live football match this weekend, break into the box that they play the pre-match music on. Plug your phone in and either play the latest episode of the Lads podcast or play the latest episode of the Main Stand over the loudspeakers until they throw you out. That is all. Peace.
Deuces.
Thank you for listening.